My name is Jamal Fitzgerald Hall.
Okay.
I am assistant principal at the 910 building in Vineland, which is referred to as the Dennis Tanner building. It's called the Dennis Tanner building because it's in honor of a teacher that gave his life for students. They went on a swimming trip and he jumped in the water and tried to save his students and he drowned. So they named it the Dennis Tanner building in honor of him. So I am the assistant principal at the Dennis Tanner building.
How long have you been involved in the school?
I've been involved in this specific school since 2020, November 2020. I started as a social worker, and in 2023, I went to Rowan and enlisted in the admin program and got promoted to assistant principal.
Okay. Describe a typical day in your role.
A typical day in my role is always tell people that I am the Swiss Army knife of professionals. So I deal with everything, discipline, being evaluative when it comes to assessing what teachers are doing on a daily basis, make sure that the students are getting top tier education. Then there's a social emotional aspect that comes with students just coming down and saying, "Are you free? Can I talk to you?" So I do pretty much everything, a lot of social emotional things. And I think that happens because of my background. I have a significantly different scope because I'm one of the few administrators that have a social work background.
Yeah. So what do you think the strengths of this school is?
The strengths of the school are we are ultra inclusive when it comes to forming different initiatives, is we really take pride in how the students feel, and a lot of things in the classroom are student driven, and there's an emphasis on being ultra inclusive when it comes to all stakeholders involved.
Do you think that there's anything that could be improved about the school?
Yes. Greater emphasis on the social emotional perspective of the classroom and what students respond to. Unless you're a really, really like big school dude, unless school is really your bag, it's difficult to sit in one space, even on a college level or a grad level, and have to sit and listen to a person talk. And when you couple that with things that happen in people's households, we come from a demographic where some of these students have some significant things going on in their homes. It's imperative that social emotional component, there's an emphasis on that, premium put on that in the classroom, and that happens with a teacher's affect, the way they sound, as far as their level of empathy and their social emotional intelligence. So that's where we can be better.
What changes have you observed in the school?
What changes have I observed is there has, one thing that I have done personally is I've enlisted teachers from each building, because we have a 9, 10, 11, 12 building, to, with more repetition, do check and connects with students. We use a database called Panorama where it gives us data on behavior, it gives us data on grades and absences. And I create a spreadsheet and I have those teachers take a period off and they actually look at the spreadsheet and pull those students and see what is going on. And so that helps them in 3 different aspects. So that's one good thing that's happened in the past few years.
So what supports student learning the most, do you think?
What supports student learning the most? Allowing the student allowing the class to be more student centered, and for the teacher to establish a dialogue as opposed to a monologue. Nobody wants to sit there and listen to a person talk. So your only time outside of maybe math to really be dominating the lesson should be only like on a Monday. everything else, you should be able to put information out that's going to spark a person to want to participate and want to have a conversation on their own. So you should be there as a facilitator. That's what creates good, effective learning.
What challenges do you think that like students face at this school?
Challenges are adhering to policy and having a structure that is the total antithesis, meaning the opposite of where they come from, and that's our responsibility. And I can go on longer with that, but like if you see a kid and he said, now that's not an appropriate language. Do you get around your mom? Yeah. And they say, yeah. Okay, well, that's unfortunate, but you can't say that around here. That's not good, okay? Yeah, so things like that. And that's a small example, but that's been an issue.
Yeah.
It's been an obstacle as far as making this offset whatever dysfunction that's seen in their homes and in their community.
What programs or supports help the students at this school?
Oh, we have PBSIS, Positive Behavioral Supports in Schools, the Check-in Connects. We have several social workers on every level. We have 504 social workers, Child Study Team social workers, Rashad Martin, who's upstairs, who just pulls kids. Since I do have a social work background, I put an emphasis on if anyone exhibits any emotional fragility, as soon as they come into the building, I'll call them. Hey, is everything okay, or whatever. And but I think collectively as an administration, we do a very good job at just walking around and being visible and making sure that we're having ongoing conversations with our students to see how they're feeling and whatnot.
So how do you communicate with students, families, or staff?
With staff, it's ongoing, and I personally try to make it my business. It's a huge school. We have almost 3,000 students and several teachers, but I personally, and I think collectively we do a good job of our assistant principals of going around the entire school, and I ask everybody, how are you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I ask the kids, how you doing? Every lunch period, I try to sit with at least one table, and I do little. It's little things. They always say the devil's is in the details. In the morning time, I try to get here before every teacher, and I try to open the door for them, because as a leader, you are best as a servant. The way that you speak, the way that you communicate, the same way that hopefully you'll be as a husband or as a father to your child. You always want to say, your mission is to be the ultimate support. So that's how you make a school better, is you say, how can I serve? And you have conversations, ongoing conversations with teachers, not just to fill a box, say, had conversation with such and such, but you come back to them and say, remember we talked yesterday? Did that ever get taken care of? And that's how you build relationships.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you think that relationships in the school community can be improved?
More conversation, constant communication, constant things outside of instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Real conversations, and you don't have to tell a person that you love them or care about them verbatim, but there has to be something in the message that says, wow, he really cares about me. And that can only happen when you go beyond the usual correspondence, beyond the email, and you talk face to face with a person and say, and you say things like, am I supporting you well? Are you being supported in the school? And have the person believe you.
Yeah.
And have the person believe you. And that's how you build relationships, and that's how you strengthen a school when you're having it with everybody, consistency.
Yeah. So, if you could implement one change, what would that what change would you implement?
If I could implement one change, well, we have time constraints. I would like for us in the near future to go beyond the school and go into the homes. I think students react differently. And I know this from being a social worker for the school. When they see a big 6'4" guy knock on the door and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And their eyes get big. Say, "Mr. Hall's on the porch." And then, but hey, is your mom home? Do you have time that I can have a conversation? This and that. And I think they say, when they see that, be more proactive with going into the homes and community involvement on an administrative level. We need to up our phone calls that our teachers are having to the homes, establish relationships, get away from the emails, because we deal with a demographic and a social economic environment where people don't check emails. They care less about emails. We need to knock on some doors, and we need to be face to face with some people, and they need to know our personalities.
So, where do you see the school in 5 years?
I see it growing. Now I'm saying it from the perspective of this building. So each building is run differently and it takes on the personality of their building principal. I always joke with people and say we're like the Avengers over here. Yeah. So we have a very tight unit, and every assistant principal has their own specific skill set. So we're like peanut butter and jelly over here. We rock and rolling. In 5 years, this thing is going to be like it's on steroids, HGH. This thing is going to get, the attendance is going to be higher, the graduation rate will be higher, and it's going to be a better school because we just have very awesome administrators, and we have some real loving, devoted teachers in this building.
How can students contribute to school improvement?
With closed mouths don't get fed. So they have to, if there's an issue, they have to be proactive in letting us know that there's an issue. And if we can't solve the problem, every administrator has the personality where we can get you to the person that can solve the problem. So communication is very key. But in order for a person, you can't shake hands with a person that has a clenched fist. So you have to have a certain level of professional decorum in a way where a person feels comfortable saying, "This is my issue." And you have to be vulnerable as a person to be able to receive it and say, "Well, I don't believe that. That's not true." You have to say, "Well, okay, they wouldn't say it unless there was a problem. So what can I fix?" And you have to start with yourself. You have to have some humility and say, "Well, maybe I'm the problem." So when you start talking to people from leadership perspective, don't say what Michael is doing wrong. Say, "Michael, is there anything that I can do to help improve you?" And then we can start talking about you. But I have to focus on myself. What am I not doing? And that's when people feel comfortable.
So before the end of the interview, is there anything else that you want to share?
Not really. I really enjoy where I work at, and it's a very happy place, and I love my students so much, and it's just a wonderful learning environment. But I don't know if everybody feels like that, because in order for everybody to feel like that, they have to be a person that circulates around and is more interactive and this and that. And I don't think that in a lot of different institutions they feel that, because a lot of people don't have the personality where they'll talk to people and walk all around. So you'll never get to experience the good in a lot of students unless you're extra proactive in going to the winter concerts and doing this. And I'm like, "Oh wow, this kid is really talented. I just wrote him up the other day." You know what I mean? Now you might write them up again, but you will not be able to see the good things unless you're very, very active in any extracurricular activities. Unless you're having conversations with them, you'll never be able to see the good in it. And I'm a person, I'm constantly talking to people, whatever. So it's so much good in this school, and I really enjoy where I work at.
Okay,
It's the best job I ever had in my life.
Okay, well, thank you for the interview, and that's it. So, yeah.